best that I can. Doing nothing. I saw New York City when it was just an island, 'cause I'm a Stone Age man.
Thank you for joining us today. It is another wonderful episode of Two Drink Maximum, the show over 2 drinks and nothing else.
Indeed it is.
I am your host, Chase Baxter.
I'm your host, Shane Byerly.
Very wonderful day today. We are joined by Lauren Glasses. She is involved in real estate with her real estate team, the Glasses and Fields team, as well as graphic design and artistry with the team Glasses. So thank you for being here, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
I mean, look, I honestly feel like this whole show got classed up just because of the
glasses alone tonight.
Yeah, the glasses alone have made this drink, like, they made this show, like, super classy.
This glass is classy, but my drink is not.
No. So tell us, what are we drinking tonight?
Yes.
So this is my poor man's martini, dirty martini. It is straight vodka and olive juice, lots of olive juice, and 3 olives.
Nice. All right, well, let's take a sip. I like it. I really do, because I love how briny olives are, and I like how it brings something to it.
Oh, bless you.
And look, let's not be so hard on yourself. There's somebody who I think we're all familiar with who is a big fan of vodka martinis, and his name is James Bond.
Yeah.
So if it's good enough for James Bond, it is certainly good enough for the three of us.
I can carry around vodka in a water bottle. I can carry around some olives in my backpack, and you got yourself a nice drink.
That's
exactly a business
right.
lunch.
Yeah.
So what's your connection to this drink? Why did you pick it? Is it a drink that has a special meaning to you, or
it literally is the drink of choice during COVID that I could put in my backpack, and no one would suspect anything.
Nice.
But I'd be real fucked up.
There you go. Nice. All right, fair enough. Yeah, it was wild times during COVID. It was completely acceptable to start drinking these at 10 in the morning, I think.
Oh yeah. It took 10 years off my life, I'm sure.
Nice. Yeah, probably.
That whole thing took 10 years of everybody's life.
Everybody's life, whether you were drinking these or not, I think. So, oh God. Well, I mean, God, you seem like an incredibly multi-talented, like, Swiss Army knife of
all
talents.
over the place.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's start a little bit with real estate. So you're obviously involved in the real estate market, and here in Los Angeles, where we're from, very tough market here in Los Angeles. My wife and I are currently in the market for a house. It seems like in most major metropolitan areas now, it is so expensive to buy a home. Is there, other than just things get more expensive as time goes by, is there a reason why it seems like it is so expensive now for, millennials or anybody under who's attempting to buy a house?
I definitely think that a majority of like the expensive part, at least in the cities, is people flipping and doing a lot of construction.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 type of buyers that I see, and first-time buyers especially, they're scared of doing work. It's kind of like an unknown, like how long is it going to take? What do I got to do? There's going to be things that come up that you didn't know about. And I think that if you're not a handy person who's been working on your house your whole life with your dad or whatever, then it's all scary to you. So you'd rather pay more money and get a brand new house or something that's brand newly remodeled.
Sure.
So you don't have to worry about it. And that's like half of buyers are scared.
Right.
But then you got to take in consideration that at least in LA, I would say like 85% of first-time buyers are getting like $200,000 from their parents.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't grow up with a shit ton of money, but like a lot of people here come here and they're like, oh, $1 million, mom and dad, I need help. Oh, here you go. Here's some help and you can buy a house. So if you're not in that world, which is, a big majority of people in LA, either half of them are from wealth or half of them are not. Right. The people who are from wealth, they don't even feel it. They're just like, oh, okay, we'll just pitch in some more money. It's fine. Right. And then the people who are a little bit like, you don't have that $200,000 given to you, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, exactly. In LA specifically, but it has to be the same, especially in New York, maybe in San Francisco. It seems like the only people who are able to buy houses at reasonable rates are people who are buying it from their grandparents who bought it in 1940 for a nickel and a steak dinner. It can be disheartening. For sure. Yeah,
they just changed a law actually a couple years ago that if you do inherit a property like that, now they're going to change the tax basis. So before you could inherit like a house from your grandmother who paid $10,000 for the house, you're still going to pay taxes on $10,000. It doesn't go up. But now in 2019, they just changed it, at least in LA. So if you inherit your house in 2020 from your grandmom, they're going to say, oh, now it's $2 million. Now you have to pay taxes on $2 million.
Oh, wow.
Out of nowhere.
Right.
So a lot of people during 2019, all the rich people, put all their houses and their properties in their kids' names right away. So you've got like 19-year-olds with like a $4 million house in their name, and their parents live there, and they're paying the kid rent for their own house.
Yeah. And that is what I am competing against,
Yeah.
trying to buy a house. It has been a fun experience so
Yeah,
far.
man. Best of luck. That sounds insane.
Yeah. What is the LA housing market that much different from anywhere else? I mean, it's obviously it's the second biggest city in the world, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's like San Francisco is apparently the like absolute nightmare in terms of like real estate. But
Totally.
is that still the case, or?
I mean, the LA, what LA's got going for it is international money. So we've got so much money coming from Asia. So many kids want to get visas and stuff in America from Asia. So you've got tons of Chinese and Singapore money pumping in here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're dealing with that. But LA is also hasn't been developed as much as San Francisco or New York.
Sure.
So we're kind of like, there's all this opportunity that people are now figuring out now. And it's like 10 years, 20 years behind New York or San Francisco. But then you're seeing a lot of new ideas in real estate, which I really like, which is like in San Francisco, they have this thing called TICs, which is tenants in common, where you buy like a house or like a compound with a couple people. And that's how you break into the market, because you're not a wealthy person or you didn't own this in your generation, generational wealth or whatever in your family.
Right.
So now TICs are being huge here in LA, just coming up. And that's like a huge thing for like, first time buyers and under $1 million. That's a good place to start for, first time buyers in our world.
Interesting. I had not heard of that, so I'm going to have to.
So, could you explain a little bit more about what those are exactly? It's just like a communal purchase of the item?
It's kind of like a co-op. It's actually what it is a loophole in the system. So basically, at
Hear
least...
that? It's a secret, everybody.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's not really a secret. It's more of like the city doesn't give a fuck. Like the city's like, we just want you to make as much new units as possible. They need to hit a mark every year. It's like 300,000 units. So they're like, we don't care how you do it, just make more units. So for example, the big thing right now in LA is if you have a house and a garage, you can turn the garage into a house and then do 2 ADUs. So you have 4 units on a property that used to just be a house and a garage. So now you have 4 units and you can sell each one of them off separately as a separate house. So all the developers right now are trying to buy any first or single family homes that have a garage that have space to add more units. And it's a loophole. You don't have to you don't have to sublot. Sublot is a lot of work. It goes through, you have to go through the city and get approval. It ticks. You don't need, if it's under 5 units, if it's 4 units or less, you don't need to have the city involved at all.
Nice.
So you see that coming a lot in LA.
Nice. That does sound like a loophole, though. Maybe a secret loophole, but yeah. It's,
We'll see if they regulate. They didn't do it in San Francisco. Been around since the 80s in San Francisco.
Somebody will figure out a way to make them have to address it when they find a property and they cut it into like 10 different little things.
Yeah.
And there's 15 cars trying to park in
Well,
a street.
there you go. You already know exactly
it's
what the
parking.
next problem is. It's the parking. Like in Long Beach, you're not allowed to put anything in a garage that can't fit a car in it because they have such parking problems. But here we don't have that yet. So.
that's
Are you sure? I don't know. I've tried to park in Los Angeles. It's a little challenge.
Yeah. That's a thing that seems to be like a weird, I don't know, maybe like a generational divide, but it seems like so many people from the boomer generation are very insistent on parking their cars in garages. And then it seems like millennials and under are like, no, the garage is an extra room that I can just use for other stuff.
That's what we've seen in the world. Like
Yeah.
we've had to live in that as an extra room.
Yeah, that's true.
Back in the heyday when you could have a tiny house for your car. And
Yeah.
it could just be a garage.
And your kids could start Apple in the garage. Yeah,
Right.
they just back the cars out in the driveway. But now it's like, no, that's my man cave or my whatever, Yeah.
Or something to sell. Like if you bought your house for 600 grand and you have a garage and you can turn that garage into an ADU and sell it for 600 grand, then you got yourself a free house.
It's
Right.
really hard to pass that up.
Yeah.
So I was curious, you also do graphic design. How did those two things come to pass in your life? How do you do real estate and graphic design?
So I went to school for theater.
Okay.
And I came out here to do theater and, film industry. And what do you do when you don't make it in the film industry? You do real estate. No, I was just, for me, it was, the hours were crazy for film industry, which is funny because graphics is about the same. But my mom's done this my whole life. She's a graphic designer, graphic operator for corporate events, auto shows, things like that. And so I never wanted to do that because I don't want to do what my mom does. But, that's what my allowance was, what I did my whole life. Went to school, came out here.
You were getting underpaid. It was like $5 to design this whole
It was like,
presentation.
yeah,
Like, thanks, Mom.
She was like, can you rotoscope this for 18 hours straight? Here's $5. I'm like, okay.
And I'll make your favorite spaghetti dinner.
Exactly.
Fair trade.
Yeah.
But I got into the real estate industry mostly from, I went to design school. So the industry, the real estate industry is a lot about design and lifestyle and like making people feel good in their home and stuff. And as a woman in design, that worked out really well. But it's also a lot about education. And so, I don't know, I just always been really good at explaining things and breaking things down, especially for females. So in the real estate industry, at least for me, I usually deal with the female. The male is like at work. He can't handle this shit. He needs you to just figure it out. And so the female will find me and I explain it to her. She can explain it to her husband. We can go find the house. He can pay the bills. That works out half the time.
I mean, that's always the secret. It's the happy wife, happy life.
Yeah,
that's very true.
It really
if you can
is.
convince her that it's something that everyone will love, then everyone will magically love it.
Yeah, that's true. It's
And
very
if
true.
you're, busy at work and you're a guy busy at work, you can't handle all this time being spent looking at houses all day, like let her do it. She'd probably be fine at it. So it works out.
I mean, obviously there's a ton of headaches, but like, what's your favorite part of the job where, that it's like, oh, this is why I love doing this?
The best part is really when you give the keys to the person and they just change their entire life. Like they're just so ecstatic. It's their best day and you're always there for their best day. And like most people want to take photos, pop the champagne, have their family come visit.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like there for like almost like it's bigger than a birthday. It's like almost a baby, Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
there for that moment. And you're like, let me make sure I got the image right. They're going to put it on their Instagram,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So that's really exciting. It's great to be there. And then you kind of like, it's like going through the trenches, right? Every escrow has got some shit going on. Like there's no like perfect escrow. It doesn't exist. So it's kind of like, you're going to see people at their best and at their worst in an escrow. So you kind of like, a lot about these people, their finances, their family life. Shit hits the fan.
So
you learn a lot about them.
What's the timeline on an escrow, just so everybody's aware?
30 days, right?
Yeah, typical is 30 days. So, I mean, that's like the average Joe timeline. Because, like, in LA, most things have multiple offers. You're going to have counters, you get acceptance. You probably get like 10 days to do your inspections. Get an appraisal, loan contingency is about 21 days, and then you close. So 30 days is like a good time. Every once in a while, you get into some crazy shit where someone's like, didn't move out, or someone's baby's in the street. Like just something weird where
Someone's
you're like,
baby's in the street.
like
That was
people are
way
crying.
That was way too
was very
specific to
specific,
not be an exact thing that you've witnessed before.
There's definitely some weird shit you see when people like he thought that everything was going smoothly and you get there on the day of to give the keys and there's trauma. Like there's just something gone wrong and you're like, well, this is just another day in real estate where these people are like, this is not normal. And it's why can't we get our keys? And it's like, well, you do everything you can to make it right, but sometimes you get crazy stuff, especially in when you don't have a brand new building, when you got people living there, they've lived there for 30 years, they thought they could get their cats out, their cat ran off, it's just kind of like, you never know what you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. It's got its ups and downs. That's certainly for sure. But what would be some advice that you would give to people just in a generic sense that are looking for just a place to live, especially like, cause again, I feel like so many millennials now are just stuck in apartments. Like if you're apartment hunting, not even house
Forever.
hunting.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking for an apartment, just in a generic sense, like what should you be kind of looking out for?
The hardest thing to say as a real estate agent is when you're apartment hunting, you should probably not use a real estate agent.
And why is that?
Because when in leases, we don't get paid anything. It's like maybe like a couple $100, maybe $1,000 if it's a fancy place.
Right.
And so usually, let's say you find a great place and you're like, oh my God, there's like 100 people at this place. I want to get this place. And you bring in your agent, that other person's going to be like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't want to deal with this other person. Like, I want to get paid double. I don't want to deal with that person, so they'll throw you to the basket. Like, they don't want to deal with you.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously that's my bread and butter is to make money off this shit. But if you like a place, go straight to the owner, go straight to the agent who's there and just be like, will you represent me? I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, great, I get paid twice. So I'll definitely put this person on the top of the list.
Right.
So, I mean, if you see competition, unfortunately, the best thing to do is go to the agent or the owner of the place and try to get with them. And it doesn't work the same so much with buying, and that's because you get fucked.
How so?
So, like, for example, I have a girlfriend, she was pregnant, they need to get a house, and they're like, oh, we want you to be our real estate agent. I'm like, sure, I'll help you. And they found this house, and it was owned by the agent's daughter. And they're like, will you represent, or they said they'd give us $20,000 off if their mom represented both sides. I was like, all right, like I can't do that for you. I'm not going to give you $20,000 on my commission. I won't make any money.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, if you want to do that, I understand, go for it. So they went for it. And what happened was that the agent who's the mother of the daughter who owns the house, when push came to shove and they had to get another place and they needed some more time, this agent just disappeared.
Oh, no.
So there, she's having a baby. She's trying to get in the house to have this baby, and her client or her agent, it says, you know, she's a client on both sides. Her agent's not responding because she's trying to milk the time for her daughter. So all this stuff comes up. People don't tell the truth. You want to make sure you get inspections and check out your house and everything. Make sure that, you know, if there's any problems with the house, that they get a credit or repair. And if you have one agent double ending it, you know, typically they're going to like sweep something under the rug.
Right.
So when it comes to rentals, you might have to deal with that and just kind of take the sweep under the rug if you want the place. But when it comes to purchasing, it's like having a lawyer in a divorce. You wouldn't have the same lawyer be on both sides of the divorce.
Yeah, you got two. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Immediately a problem.
Exactly. So the same thing with real estate when you buy.
Yeah, I got you. That makes absolute sense. Not to give all of your secrets, but just one little freebie for the listeners. If there are any people in LA, what's the hottest neighborhood in LA that people aren't looking at?
That they aren't looking at.
But they should.
That they
The hottest place in LA is.
I would say if you're
And
under
we
a
can
million.
bleep this out too until I scope out the neighborhood. We'll bleep this out until I scope out the neighborhood and just see for myself. Yeah.
If you're under $1 million, Boyle Heights.
Boyle Heights.
If you're over $1 million but under $2 million, I would say Baldwin Hills area,
Okay.
Park Heights area.
And if you're over 10 like me, no, I'm just kidding.
If you're over 10,
yeah. Beverly Hills, baby.
you get to choose where you want to go.
Yeah.
It has never changed. Yeah, it's still Beverly Hills. Yeah.
Find another state. You get much more value.
Yeah. All right. Boyle Heights. Good to know.
Yeah, very up and coming. You know, still going through gentrification stuff. But if I had money, I'd park it there.
Nice.
There or San Pedro, but San Pedro's kind of far.
Yeah. It's out of the way.
Bit of a commute, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, just to spin it around a little bit, what makes a good client for you? Everyone's always worried about finding a good agent. But you also have the other side of it of like, who won't you represent?
The best client is someone who listens. If they think that they are like know the market better than you and you're just there to facilitate a form, then they're probably going to miss out on some deals. And I say that because if they listen to you, you know what's going on in the market. You know what the agents, their tips, like they're like, you got to put in your offer by tomorrow. And you're like, why? And they're like, well, I got another offer. I'm like, what's that offer look like? And you kind of go through the song and dance with the other agents so you know what's going on better. They're not going to say it straight up, but they're going to move you to the right direction if they want to. And if your person's not listening to you, they're going to do something completely outside of the strategy. So it's like every day is a strategy. Every day you're listening to the agent, listening with who's at the open houses, really making a plan, mostly talking with this agent to make things, you know, kosher and happy for everyone. And then your client comes in and they're like, we want a low ball. I'm like, well, you're not going to get it if you're low ball, like on this house, they told me 1.4, we should do 1.4. If you want a low ball, you know, I can't guarantee you're going to get, they're not going to get it. So if you listen, then it's like, I got all this information for us. I want the same thing you want. We both want this deal. So I got all this information for you. If you don't want to listen to me, then I probably can't help you out.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen a client just like shoot themselves in the foot? Because it sounds a little bit like you have to be a lawyer to these people.
Oh, totally.
And be like, this is what you should say.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't want to say that. And you're like, then it won't work.
100%.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. It's hard for some men to listen to a woman, especially if you're younger. So like if I have to deal with a couple and their dad comes in,
Oh no.
that's the hardest client, is like the dad who's like, who the fuck is this dumb bitch? Like she doesn't know anything about houses.
The father-in-law.
Yeah.
Boomers.
Yeah.
They're always fun to interact with. Yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
And you know, then they're like, this roof is great, and then the roof falls down. And I'm like, okay, like, your dad said that, not me. I didn't say it.
As a person who my job requires me to be an expert in a very small niche field, it is always entertaining to be lectured to by someone who does not know anything about what it is I do.
It's gotta
and
be great.
like, yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Or don't listen to me. Fine. I've only been doing this for 10 years, but yeah, sure, fine. I'm sure you know.
And I mean, you know, like I understand that someone's dad probably built someone's house, and you know, like I've only watched my dad build a house. I didn't do it myself,
Right.
but at the same time, every day I'm speaking to agents and duking it out with other agents. So at least I know that daily.
Now, it sounds like because your dad built a house, you're pretty handy. Are you handy because you got into real estate, or are you handy because your dad taught you
I'm
how to do
handy
it?
because my mom and my dad are very handy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So any problem in your home, you're like, I got this. I can roll up my sleeves and get a wrench and fix this thing.
Yeah. We love YouTube.
Yeah.
We do a lot of YouTube and do it.
Yeah. How did anybody learn anything before YouTube? I mean, just like fixing stuff.
You had to listen to your dad.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Dad pulled out a giant old book and he opened it and started reading from it.
The Encyclopedia of Plumbing. Yeah.
I also wanted to, how competitive is the real estate game here in
Just
Los
like being an actor.
Oh.
It's the same.
It's very.
Oh,
It's the
explain.
It's just, at the end of the day, you get hired by people who like you. If you're not a likable person, you're not going to get very far, unless you've already in a very wealthy to do clique where it doesn't matter what you act like. So every day when I meet people, you know, a lot of people like me, but it might not be the right style, the right flavor for them. And it's just like acting, like there's just hit and miss. Some people like you, some people just think, I like this guy better than this girl. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I will say this. I think that being there for, because you're right, you're absolutely right. When you buy a home, or, you know, especially when you buy a home, it is a life moment, right? Where it's, you know, like having a baby, like getting married, like a funeral. It is a life event that you can literally chart on a person's life. So it's really cool that you get to be there for that, right? That's a pretty cool thing. But I would make a recommendation. I think instead of champagne, you should start serving people these instead, because frankly, they're delicious.
You don't do martinis, but you serve your clients a special drink. I think I've seen it come across your socials there. What do you serve them whenever they sign a?
I always give them a Dom Perignon.
Nice. I don't know. I've had Dom Perignon. It's delicious, but I still think I'd have one of these instead. And on that note, my glass is empty. It looks like everybody's almost coming up against some empty glasses. So let's go ahead and take a break real quick, and we will refill ourselves. We'll be back for our second drink in just a moment. Chase, buddy, I've got a huge problem.
Oh, man, lay it on me.
Well, the thing is, I've got this big project coming up, and I just do not have the space, nor do I have the peaceful environment at home that I really need to get this job done. Can you help me? Where can I go?
Well, let me tell you what, man. I've got the perfect place.
No.
That's right. It's the Muse Rooms Hollywood, located at 3800 Barham.
Is that the Muse Rooms at themuserooms.com?
That's right, the very same one.
Oh.
It sounds like we're on track to solve your creative problem here. By
I feel better already.
really is a wonderful creative space to work, and we're very excited to have them as a sponsor.
Please check them out at themuserooms.com. That's MUSE, Muse, and give them a spin. That's an awesome place. It's a creative workspace, and we hope to see you there.
And now for part 2.
All right, and we've got full glasses, and we're back here with Lauren Glasses, which is frankly a really, really cool name. It kind of sounds like that scene in Goodfellas where he's like, you know, you got Muggsy 2 times at the bar, and you got Johnny 2, whatever. Like Lauren Glasses is a badass nickname that I feel like you had to earn the hard way. How did you get the nickname Lauren Glasses? Like, how did you earn that name?
Well, thank you. So I came to LA to try to get into the industry. And my first gig was working for this guy called this Cobra Snake.
The Cobra Snake.
The Cobra Snake. And he wanted me to paint a mural of Hollywood on the wall of his shop.
Okay.
So I'm painting a mural, and he brings in this girl named Cece Sheffield. She has like this one song that was like #1 dance song of 2011. She comes in, and he's like, "This is your new assistant." I had news to me. I had no fucking idea, but I was like, all right.
A singer.
Yeah, a singer.
Okay.
This is your new assistant. I'm like, hi, I'm painting a wall. And she's like, what's her name? And he's like, Lauren. We call her Lauren Painter. Never heard that name before. Just now I'm Lauren Painter. Right. She's like, not happening.
Yeah, not as cool.
We're not doing Lauren Painter. Her name is Lauren Glasses. I've always had glasses on, blind as a bat. I always had blue ones. So that was my name. Cece told me that my name was Lauren Glasses. Stuck. Everyone in Hollywood, wherever I went with Cece, is Lauren Glasses. And nobody could say or spell my last name. So it stuck, and it's always been.
That's super cool, though. I dig it, because as a person who has a last name that's a little bit hard to pronounce the first time through, I wish I had a cool nickname like Lauren Glasses. Plus, glasses are kind of cool, right? Let's be honest. They make you look more educated. They add like 10 IQ points.
Thank God.
I'm just happy that they correct my awful vision like you.
Yes, and I just can't do contacts. So that was my first job. Obviously, wasn't very lucrative. I was also then pawned off to Cece as her intern assistant, which didn't pay anything, but was fabulous because you got to travel around the world, and I got to go with her.
Nice.
But I tried to go into the fashion industry and costume industry. Got through that, but wasn't paying the bills. Wasn't really sticking it for me. So I went to real estate, and then I also asked my mom for help, which was my mom has been doing graphic design since I was a baby, since I was born. She basically is one of the first people to do like really fancy PowerPoint and keynotes for corporations and car shows. So that's her bread and butter. And so now I've been doing it since I was like 10, working on my computer, getting my, what do we call it, the allowance. But then, when I decided I needed to make more money, she took me on, and I got to do that, and I still do that. It's about half of my income, and I love it. It's definitely the opposite side of real estate for me.
So what is unique about working with a parent?
Whoa. Well,
Yeah. Well, you were talking about...
Man, your eyes got really big there for a second.
there's a lot there.
I do a little bit of work with family, and it's a special challenge, but you do a great deal of work with
I
family.
too consider you family, Chase. So I'm happy to hear you say that.
Not related to Shane. Just very-
No. we're not.
But there's a special exchange that goes on when you're having to do business with a parent.
Totally. My mom trained me well from an early age. So I do whatever the fuck my mom tells me to do, and I do not go astray. That being said, my mom is...
Good for her.
She's awesome. Love my mom. She's a brutal force to be reckoned with.
Oh.
And she will literally rip your asshole apart if she wants
Explain.
to.
To you or to anybody else?
To anyone.
Anybody. Okay, fair enough.
Even a client. So a good story is, I don't know if I should say the brand, a car company.
You can generalize it, yeah.
All right, a car company, worked with my mom for the past 30 years. And this one CMO really did not like my mom. My mom was very blunt, very intense. And she asked that my mom not be a part of the team anymore. And my mom's been doing this for 30 years. Nobody can do my mom's job. So the company said, all right, we're going to put Lauren there. We're going to make Lauren, you can't tell anybody that this is your mom. You're going to go there and act like you're this new person, but your mom's going to do all the work, but you're just going to be the face.
You're the front man.
I'm the front man. So I went there and I did the show and everyone had a great time. And then someone finally realized that my last name looked familiar. And at the end of the show, one of the ladies asked me, she's like, are you related to Tina Biedenhorn? And I was like, yep, that's my mom. And they're like, oh shit. They had like basically said my mom couldn't be a part of the show anymore, but my mom did all the work and I was just there as a front. And after that, she did such a good job. Like, all right, we'll bring your mom back in. We understand that they used you as a front, and that your mom's maybe a bitch, but like she knows what she's doing. And
there's that interchange of like, this person's very awful, difficult to deal with, but they do amazing work, so it's totally worth
That's my mom.
figuring out how to make that happen.
It's the Steve Jobs phenomenon, right?
Exactly.
It's like absolute nightmare to work with, but incredible results. Yeah.
Right.
So I am the liaison between my mom and the client.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're an ambassador for it.
I am ambassador. I'm like, don't listen to what she said. Let me tell you a nice sugar-coated message.
Let me gussy this up for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, my mom's the one, she knows what she's doing. She's
Yeah.
very good at what she does. I'm just the sugar-coating bitch for her.
Well, okay, let me ask you then. At that highest kind of corporate level, right, where it's car companies and people have like a huge budget, what are some of the things that when you see any graphic design stuff from any competitor or whatever, what are the things that you see that you're like, oh, this is really good, versus what are the things that you're like, this is weak?
Totally. It's funny because the companies that have where you have all this buzz around them have the worst production.
They're getting lazy on their
Getting very
their street
lazy.
cred.
Exactly. We spent months doing a car auto show for like a big company, preparing it. It's like a $4 million production.
Yeah. The
Lots of
run-throughs,
practice.
the
There's
rehearsals,
dancers.
yeah.
There's fucking smoke. There's like a lion, whatever. And then you got Tesla, which I love Tesla, but their production is sad.
Right.
Where you've got like they don't do any pre-production, they don't do any rehearsals, and they come up on stage, they throw things to the truck.
It's just
shatter
Elon in a spotlight.
Exactly.
I saw that, right? He tried to hit the windshield. It was unbreakable and then completely broke it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it didn't break all the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like that gives a lot of, I want to say, respect to people in production, because it's not like Elon Musk is a production person.
No.
He's whatever he is, and he doesn't always trust his team.
He is whatever he is.
That's the best description I've ever heard of him. He is whatever he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nice to know that if you do hard work and you plan and you are, precise with your production, it will definitely be worth it.
Sure.
So
what are kind of the signs of, at that level, what are the signs of like this is a weak presentation? Just in your opinion, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be like exacting, but just like when you see something, you're like, that's weak, it needed more work.
Yeah, or what's one indicator that you know you're going to have trouble?
probably the first indicator is like a small screen, one person behind the stage,
Yeah.
and they've got like a PC, and you're like, nope,
Yeah.
it's not happening. Because in the world of graphics, we're all Mac. We're all Mac, or we're Lumen or D3, and anybody who has a PC, you're immediately like,
Yeah. We're all Justin Longs here. We're not the fuddy-duddy guy, the PC.
I mean, I have a PC, so.
Yeah, well, and of course, look at you. Of course, you're fuddy-duddy. You're in that brown suit. Yeah.
Look at me. I'm in
Yeah.
a brown suit. What are you
Yeah.
talking-
He is. He's in a brown suit, and he's insistent that he's cool because he's a PC.
brown suit and bell bottoms and a top hat.
hey, I started PCs, but now the art world is all strictly Apple.
I know, and yes.
So just taking it down a level, many people have to deal with PowerPoint presentations for their work, for their office, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is, like, if you could distill down like a piece or two of advice for anybody who's just making a low-level PowerPoint presentation, what is something that people can take away to gussy up their PowerPoint presentations, to give it a little bit of oomph?
Don't use PowerPoint.
Don't use PowerPoint. Okay. Tip number one.
Tip number one,
Good.
use Keynote, not
Find something else.
PowerPoint.
Keynote, not PowerPoint,
Yeah.
which is a Mac program for those that are unaware.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a Mac. It's the same thing as PowerPoint, but for Apple, but it has a lot better animations. It's a lot more tech savvy.
Sure.
And it's better for videos. So today, everybody wants videos. So you're going to have back-to-back videos. The number one problem with PowerPoint is back-to-back videos will have a lag. And in Keynote, there will not be a lag.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very exciting things.
Nice. Okay. I mean, just on a general design level, is there like, don't use this font, or like don't, maybe avoid this color. It doesn't usually show up well. And
Well, so if you're going to have a screen that is, so there's projection and then there's LED light. So now everyone uses LED light. You do not want your background to be white. You will literally sunburn the speaker. You will not even see the speaker because it'll be so exploded with white. And so a lot of times, another thing, when you see someone come up, they're like, let's make it all white. And you're like, you don't know
Please
that
no.
this is, this is going to blind your people, and they can't even see what's going on the stage anymore because there's so much white.
right.
So there's a whole bunch of just kind of things you get to used to that you make part of your template that you don't do. And if you see someone do it, you're like, okay, this person knows what they're doing.
Okay. Interesting. Let me ask you a question, Chase, and then we'll throw to our experts so that we can
What do
both
I
be
have at?
proven wrong.
All right.
What is the worst chart? My answer is it's a pie chart. Those things are
worst?
always like, I have to like look at, like squint my eyes, like what? Especially the
Worst
small
chart. So
Figure out a way to make like a
So the
different
pie chart makes sense to me because pies are delicious.
Well, yeah, that's
So,
not for
so no
debate.
matter what I'm looking at, I'm imagining sections of something yummy that I want to eat.
Yeah. Is there a chart that, like, if it comes up in your line of work, you're like, let's try something different?
Anytime we see a plot map, it's not very good because it's hard to see plot maps on this giant screen.
For dummies like us, what are plot maps?
Plot map is just dots, lots and lots of dots all over the place.
That looks like no. I know what you're talking about now. Hard
Similar
pass.
to what I was describing.
Yeah.
Mine is just like you've taken a path and decided it through the dots, but that is much more vague. And it's like generally everything is trending up. And you're like, yeah.
That is a good tip. So, of course, if we have a publicly traded company, you can't fudge the numbers.
Of course.
But as part of my job, it is to make charts look better
Yeah.
than they really are.
Data is wonderful. Data can be anything.
So we definitely spend a lot of time trying to make charts look, good for the company when the data doesn't exactly mean the same.
You just have to
thing.
show that it's going up and right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
You
then
have
the
to pick
competitors are going down and
left,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
You
The
got to pick
opposite.
a very select data set
I
that
know.
shows the progress that you want, right? Yeah.
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 And then they get the lawyers to come and they like, take it all down, take
Mm-hmm.
it all down. You're like, okay.
Are lawyers usually involved in these
Always,
presentations?
always.
Oh.
So everything that you do.
And if anybody I know is good at graphic design, it is lawyers.
is-
You have to.
yes.
I know
That's
one
sarcasm.
thing. You have to be, quote unquote, representing the truth in the data that you send
Correct,
into
because
the
these are
world.
publicly traded companies, so they cannot. And I mean, whatever someone takes a picture of their phone, sometimes you have to make sure that the lawyers agree. So every lawyers are the death of design. Like everything you make look cool, then the lawyers come in and like, no, you can't do that. But I like how they come in last minute after you spent like 2 months making this.
2 months working on something. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they know better. They're the lawyers.
Well, the lawyers are like, no one wanted to pay me thousands of dollars in the beginning, so now they're paying me thousands of dollars now, and I've ruined your entire project.
And I have to come up with 3 notes, or else their value is not there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ugh. Lawyers.
I don't have a problem with lawyers, but they are a specific type, and they seem to destroy any and all fun in any situation, because the law is not fun. The law is accurate.
Yeah.
And accuracy is not super enjoyable most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything fun is definitely not okay.
Yeah.
You got to kill that.
I was reading this news story that they were talking about how a lot of paralegal work is soon to be replaced by AI.
Ooh.
Right? Because a lot of the stuff that paralegals do, which is essentially typing up all the documents for lawyers who then have to sign off on those documents, they're thinking that is going to be an industry that is majorly affected by AI when it gets to that point.
That sounds wild. I'm a fan of AI.
It's got certainly potential.
I think
but
if you can spread it all out and get it to where people are still doing things that the AI is not doing, then there's a way to work it out. But I think we will rush into that a lot quicker than we're ready for.
Yeah.
And it will make people not be able to work.
Has AI brushed up in either of your industries, in real estate or graphic design, where it's starting to butt its head in?
Oh
and
yeah,
it's like,
AI
this is
art
scary.
is a thing.
Yeah.
AR is a thing. We use AI art all the time in graphics because one of the main things that we do is need photos to represent some weird ass shit. And so now AI, you can put in like kid eating a green lollipop. Like, I don't know how many people you have to go through to find a green lollipop, but AI can make it like that. So for the art, AI is great. In real estate, like you're saying about lawyers, actually, lawyers are going to program AI to do our documents for us.
Yeah.
So it's funny because it's like this chicken and the egg thing where it's like lawyers are going to program AI to do lawyers' work. And really real estate agents' work. So real estate agents, like half of my job in being a real estate agent is law.
Right.
If I had AI to be able to do all that stuff for me, all the paperwork for me, then it just turns into people business.
Right?
Yeah.
Talking
So,
to people.
Yeah, talking to people, convincing them, explaining to them, teaching them. But yeah, AI is definitely, I mean, I'm down.
Yeah. And that was the point of the article.
There's nothing to worry about until a robot can shake somebody's hand and tell them, you look amazing in that suit and this house is made for you.
Yeah, but we're getting there a little bit faster
We are.
than you
Yeah.
might think. Yeah.
And you would have to believe it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd always believe a AI to tell me what I want, not what I want to hear. They're going to tell
Exactly.
you what you want to hear. So
Yeah.
will a real estate agent, though.
But I think that's the point of the article I was reading was that industries aren't being replaced. They're just being modified, whether it's
Yeah.
real estate or law or whatever. People are going to have to learn to work with AI as a tool. Lawyers are not just going to be replaced by AI, right? There might not be any industry that's just single-handedly replaced by AI, but we're all just going to have to start modifying, get used to working with it as a
Yeah.
tool.
So like I was saying, I treat it like a writer's assistant. I just asked it random questions, and I'm like, generate 5 concepts for X. And I go, okay, I don't like how this sounds, and we tweak this a little bit and make it more natural to what we're doing. But yeah, I think it's an asset more than a hindrance to anything.
It's great for writing listing descriptions.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've spent weeks with certain difficult clients on writing a description that they feel is good enough for their home. Whereas the chat AI can do almost a better job than I could in a second. And I took weeks. So I'm like, all right, that's cool with me.
Yeah, because I imagine that despite what people want to believe or not believe, that the listing for their home, the text of that, it's all pretty, pretty standard.
Yeah.
There's only so many ways to say this property is,
It's formulaic.
X square feet. It has X number of bedrooms.
It's
and
just a lot
bathrooms.
of like fancy, imagery. And I'm like, okay, I can write a poem or I could sell the house. What chat.
But could you sell a house with a poem?
Someone will enjoy it. My mentor would make a song for every house.
Really?
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. So her and her brother used to write lyrics back in the day.
Okay.
And so she would write a song for every house, and it was just like nuts.
What was the genre of these songs?
Usually like 1920s, like very, I don't even know how to explain it, but like Broadway tunes.
Like swing and
Yeah.
jazz.
Like-
and that, yeah.
Welcome to the house. It's the best house on the block. You've got your wind up driveway
Yeah.
to the, whatever the fuck. But
I don't like.
Not my
You're already
forte.
selling me. I'm
Here's
like,
your house.
I
Not my
want to.
forte.
I want to see this house already.
It's really nice and you want to buy it.
yeah. She was into that. She had a great voice. Not me.
I don't know. I think all houses should have a theme song now. Now I'm starting to get on this campaign
Alright.
of houses theme song.
Her value's going up. She needs to train the chatbots to make these songs.
That's a new thing you should do.
Yeah.
Is like, here's your house and here's the theme song to your house.
Yes. And she would go all the way. She would write it out, frame it, put it on the wall. You bought the house with the song.
I don't know why, but I just imagined they were going to be rap. If for nothing else, but because you can get more words in with rap, right?
This is a 1920s broad from New York. Don't know if she's going to bring any rap in there, but
Yeah. Well,
but we could try.
She could. Maybe some jazz.
Yeah, some jazz.
Jazz will sneak in there.
Yeah. This house has 2 floors and it has oak doors. Like, I mean, you could just do like all sorts
That was good.
of.
That was a solid bar.
That was it. Yeah, that was one little bar. I mean, and that wasn't even AI, folks. That was just me coming off the top of my
real
head.
time.
Like, that might be the future of real estate. I think we can start this now. You should
Okay.
just start doing like hardcore rap beats for songs.
Rap escrow.
That's how I'll market the houses with my rap.
Hell yeah. And you could record just a little video. It could also serve as like an open house tour.
Not a bad idea.
I think we're starting a new industry
Yeah,
here.
not a
I'm
bad
not
idea.
here for it.
Sir rents a lot.
Sir rents a lot. Sir sells a lot, I guess, right?
Sir sells a lot is better.
Definitely would be unique and different for sure.
Yeah. Well, as we start to kind of wind down here a little bit, I'm curious. I mean, obviously, you've got a lot going for you in real estate. You've got a lot going for you in graphic design. Is there anywhere that you haven't gotten to explore that you'd like to in the future? Is there another industry that you'd like to see to dip your toe in, or
Aviation.
I don't know if I had, I would really be interested in doing something that has to do with cultures. Really love traveling, love learning about new cultures. I got a girlfriend who goes around all over the world and like basically talks to people in third world countries about how they feel they're being treated by the system, and it helps them and like enlighten them and bring them to like same thing with real estate. Real estate's nice because you help people with that that milestone. Like you're going to get a house, which is really rewarding.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a little stale because everyone in LA is so rich, and you're like, well, just another day, just another dollar,
Somebody's buying $1 million home, whatever.
Yeah, it gets a little jaded. But then, I think cultures and going around the world and learning more about that is really helps gain perspective. And so I would be down to do something like that.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah, I think we all would like to travel a little bit more, but it sounds like you've actually got a solid plan for how you could do it. So,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
You have a strategy. So one of my final questions is, as someone who's had to adjust, you had a plan. What was something you had to consider, and like, what did you tell yourself when you had to make that change? As far as like you were wanting to move to something that was better for you, but you had to give up something that you wanted, I guess.
Totally.
So like, how did you align those two things and figure out a way forward from that?
I think something about coming of age is where you have a dream of what you want to be, and then you got to pay the bills. And like, I have no problem admitting that the thing that I wanted to do was not paying me enough to survive on my own. And that's one thing that my mom taught me is like, she wanted to be a painter, an artist, and that wasn't paying the bills. So she went into advertising and then into graphics. And I did this, I have to admit, like, I tried my best to do what I wanted to do. And at the end of the day, I really respect my mom because I had to go through the same lesson, which is sometimes you got to do something that pays the bills to get through.
For sure.
And I love fashion. Never will give that up. Obsessed with fashion. But I appreciate that my mom carved this out for me. And, I love real estate and I love helping people with their milestones in their life.
Yeah.
And that to me is more rewarding than me wanting to be a fashion designer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is a coming of age thing where you want to do what you want to do. And then you realize maybe that's not what's going to make you survivor. And so you do what you got to do to survive. And I love that. See
That's
the beauty
awesome.
in that.
Yeah.
There is absolutely beauty in that for sure. And don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise.
Thank you.
For sure.
Appreciate that.
But what is not beautiful is about 3 empty glasses.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us today and letting us try this vodka martini is what we had. Sorry, there's so much olives in it. This messed me up.
Jace doesn't like olives. I think they're delicious, and I think this is great. I think James Bond might consider. Hold on. To be fair,
It's very salty.
We didn't shake this. We stirred it, so we're so we're already out of James Bond territory. But maybe he's wrong. Maybe we should start stirring them and put olives in it instead. So, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
This is
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, if anybody's in the LA housing market or anybody wants to keep up with you, I can't talk anymore. How can they do that?
That's the olives talking.
It is the olives, absolutely. Ugh.
They're pretty potent. Yeah.
They are. You can find me on all interwebs at Lauren Glasses.
Very easy to find.
Yeah. There's not too many Lauren glasses. There might be imitators, but there's only really one.
Only those hacker accounts, but you'll figure it out.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of 2 Drink Maximum, the show over 2 drinks and nothing more. We will see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for following us. Be sure and keep up with us at 2 Drink Maximum. You can also email us and try and talk to the show at 2drinkmaximum@gmail.com. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, everybody.